With the country in the middle of a financial crisis, more people are not only starting to pay attention to financial news, but the government wants to crack down on people trying to rip you off.
In fact, you should know there is a bill in the works on Capitol Hill to enable the FBI to track and prosecute those who commit these financial crimes. And joining us this morning is Senator Ted Kaufman, Delaware's newest senator. Thank you for coming in this morning.
Hey, Chanel, John, great to be here.
We were talking off camera. You know, there's been so much talk about Bernie Madoff and this Ponzi scheme, but the reality is you've seen the numbers. So many people have been ripped off, and it's traced back to someone committing a crime.
Absolutely. And what this does, when you have an economic downturn, it really exposes all the people who are kind of living on the edge, like the Ponzi schemes and things like that. The biggest problem we have is that after 9/11, we rightfully shifted most of our FBI agents, a lot of our FBI agents, over to do counterterrorism, which was the right thing to do. But we never replaced them back in the financial area. So that in 2008, we really tried less cases in financial crime than we did in 2001. And now we have this explosion. So what this bill does, which is co-sponsored with Chairman Pat Leahy from the Chairman of the Judiciary Committee, and Chuck Grassley, Republican from Iowa, is to get more FBI agents on the street checking this thing out, give them the financial training they need, get more prosecutors, because we got to track this down. At the time, right now we have a little over 200 FBI agents working on financial crime. At the S&L crisis, at its peak, we had 1,000. Wow. So we've got to gear up, and we've got to gear up fast. It's like, you know, when you see those detective shows, and they always say it's 24 hours. If they find out who the person is in 24 hours, that's good, but if they don't, they're in trouble. We've got to get these people on the street out there finding these bad guys, because nobody should be able to get away with this. I mean, if somebody robs a store, they get caught, they go to jail. If somebody robs hundreds of millions of dollars, they should go to jail.
I was going to ask you, you know, on the forefront here, it seems like there's a second set of rules. Bernie Madoff right now staying in his house. Alan Stanford, the Texas financier, who's accused of another multi-billion-dollar scheme, doesn't even get arrested. The SEC serves him papers, but he's not arrested. There's no charges yet. Why is this different?
I don't know. I mean, and frankly, I don't try to second guess the prosecutors. I think they know what they're doing. We've got good prosecutors in the Justice Department. They'll do a good job on it. But I think they're negotiating pleas. They're trying to figure out how to get your way through it. But it does seem, and it sends absolutely the wrong message to people, that there is two set levels of justice. So what this bill does is get the FBI agents so we can go after the big guys, commit a big crime, go to jail for big time. These people should go to jail. It's a deterrent down the road when people are sitting around in some boardroom or some mortgage office or something like that saying, hey, maybe we ought to do this. They say, oh, wait a minute, those guys, the last time they did it, they went to jail. We got to make sure we do this.
I was going to ask you about that. I was reading this morning. You have some more than 60,000 cases alleging mortgage fraud filed, and that was just in 2008, and then $500 billion in losses associated with the subprime mortgage industry, which is another big problem. It seems like it's one bill, but there's a lot of angles to tackle here.
Absolutely, and we have other provisions for private actions, plus the attorneys general, states attorneys general's got to get into this. Everybody's got to get into this. But I think right now, it's an emergency. We need those FBI agents. We're having a hearing on Thursday to report the bill out, and hopefully we can get it and get up to speed and get the people on the street.
I want to get your thoughts. President Obama will address the nation and in both houses of Congress, and obviously the economy has taken the forefront of all of this for his first month, but health care is going to be a big case here tomorrow night. What do you want to hear?
Well, I want to hear we're going to do something about health care, and I understand earlier on your show they talked about how difficult this is going to be. Hey, listen, Barack Obama signed on to nothing easy. I mean, this is all difficult. But I'll tell you what, if we don't get health care costs under control, it's hard to figure out how you get Medicare and Medicaid costs under control. I know it's going to. I don't know how they're going to do it, and I hope Houdini can figure out how to do it. But if you want to adjust long-term fiscal responsibility, you've got to do something about Medicare and Medicaid. And the only way you can do something about Medicare and Medicare is you've got to get costs under control. And that's what Clinton was trying to do.
We're almost out of time, but do you see the fighting around the corner again with both sides? And
no, by the way, I'll tell you what, I really have some good news on that. I haven't been, the last 13 years I was kind of out of this, doing other things when I used to work for Senator Biden. And there's a good spirit. I mean, I know this sounds strange. I presided over the Senate for 3 hours last Friday on the day of the vote, so I heard like 15 to 18 senators, and it didn't look very friendly. But after it was over, we were all going away to go back to the district, and there was a lot of good feeling on the floor. Okay. I mean, personally, these guys, I've met with a lot of Republicans. I met with two very conservative Republican senators last week. People really understand the American people want us to do something about that. But just the final thing is, this fiscal thing is the toughest thing that separates Democrats and Republicans. I mean, there couldn't be a tougher issue for Barack Obama to try to start out. But I have a feeling, good feeling from people. They disagree on what we should do in economic times, which is normal between Democrats and Republicans. But personally, there's a good feeling, much better than I thought, and I think it's going to get better. And I think if the president keeps after this, I think he'll get a responsive reaction from the Republicans. So I'm optimistic. I really am.
I tell you what, on a Monday morning, we'll take your optimism. Senator Ted Kaufman,
great.
thanks for coming in this
Listen,
morning.
thanks for having me.
All right.
Jen?